can't find it.
It's all right.
Hello.
She's back. She's back, everybody. Faith is back. You've heard me talk about her in my lives all the time. Come to see Faith, come to see Faith, come to see Faith, come to Ghana with me and Faith, come to the Father's Day workshop. She's finally arrived. She arrived yesterday.
Yes, yesterday morning.
So we had to get on and do a live so that we could just talk about. So I wanted you to meet her, and we just sort of catch up and see what she's been doing and what we're going to be doing over the next few days. So yeah, Faith.
Yay!
Say hello. Yay!
Hello,
Faith
beautiful
is in
women.
the building.
Yay! Hello.
There's white people next door.
So we're whispering. We're actually not whispering. But it's really, really lovely to be here. And yeah, I can't wait to meet some of you women. I've met some of you already. But I'm really happy to be here and to connect with you again. I'm here for a number of reasons. But first of all, before I go on about me, what I wanted to do was share with you how June has been involved in some of the work that I do in Australia. So I am a therapist, a mindfulness coach, and a counsellor, and I do energy healing. And I run this wonderful group, an online group called the Ubuntu Afro Sisters Circle. And this is for black women, and it's for black women that live in Australia. And I know some of you London sisters will find it hard to believe there's enough black women.
Hello, Rose. She's coming on. I think Rose she's coming on Wednesday. Yes,
it'll be lovely to meet you, Rose.
Yeah.
So some of you may find, some of my English sisters may find it hard to believe that there's a beautiful big community of black women in Australia, and there are. And now I have this wonderful group for me online. We're called the Ubuntu Afro Sisters Circle, and I've been doing work with these beautiful women. And June has been coming on to bringing on her expertise on racial wellness to share with the group.
It's been really powerful.
Yeah, it's been really, really nice.
Such lovely women. It's been such a privilege to be in that space, just to connect and hear the different experiences, and also how racism plays itself out in Australia. Because it's very different to how it plays itself out over here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
With sort of subtle differences. So it's just interesting to hear how it plays out over there. Yeah.
And I think as black people, I think we think that racism has the same face everywhere.
It doesn't.
And I think what my experience with living in Australia is that it actually doesn't. You know, as a black woman in Australia, I'm actually very privileged because the people that struggle the most are the black Aboriginal people. But the non-Aboriginal black people, we're almost treated, most of us are treated really, really well, almost kind of put on a pedestal. But that doesn't mean that's still in itself another form of racism.
Yeah.
And kind of understanding how we hold on to ourselves and navigate that, you know, and that's level of maybe being treated special, that brings on with it other expectations, you know, especially with each other. And what I can find is that other black women get threatened by having other black women around because we're prized for our rarity. That suddenly another black woman comes in, it's like they diluted your value. So we have to do a lot of work around that stuff, that we don't project all that, internalize that racism with each other. So I do a lot of work like that with my women. So so I just wanted to say, let you know, because a lot of you probably want to know that June does this work with my group, and she does this work, and I'm really proud of that, you know, the work that she does. So,
and it's the first time that we've worked together like that, isn't it? I mean, we've done other workshops and stuff before, like when you've come to London, but it's the first time that we've kind of combined our communities. Yes. So we did 3 workshops together. One was on just racial wellness generally. One was on internalized racism and lateral violence. You know, what people like to call black on black crime. What was the third one about? Was it microaggressions? It was just really it was really powerful. I just really enjoyed it, and just the questions that came back just kind of made me think, and so many different things, but it was just really good to be able to work with you in that space on another level, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and the space just felt really held as well. I love the way that you held the group, and the women clearly just got so much out of the 12 weeks that you really nurtured them and you know, and made them feel safe. And that really came across when I was hearing their experiences around doing the 12 weeks with you. So it was just a real honour for me just to come and do those 3 weeks. And you know, it's, you know, I know we're talking about maybe doing some other things and stuff as well. So I'm really looking forward to that part of it as well. So it was great. It's been really good to, and that's essentially what unity is about. You know, black people always talk about, oh, why can't people come together? You know, why don't people, you know, collaboration in that respect is really, really important. It's so important.
Yeah, and I think it's a big part of our healing, and I think it's the work we're doing, just the fact that we're modelling for other black women that black women are safe to work with. I think that's a really, really important message. You know, and one thing I love about working with you is that we both got the 12-step background. So
oh my God,
there's that solidity.
I couldn't have done it without that.
Yeah, there's a real sense of solidness and there's congruency in the work we do. So that's wonderful. So Rose, don't want it to be the Mutual Admiration Society, sorry. And you probably came on here for something else other than June and I telling each other how great we think each other are. Anyway, sorry. We'll move on to the reason why we jumped on.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So the first reason why we jumped on is because next Wednesday we have Faith is going to be hosting a fathers and wounded daughters workshop. Yes, it's called Healing the Father-Daughter Relationship Workbook.
That's a workbook.
So it's going to be about you know, absent fathers. And when we talk about absent fathers, we're not just talking about absence in terms of them being physically absent, but it can be emotionally absent as well. Because not a lot of people really see it in that way. They think, you know, oh, if their dad was there physically, that why are you complaining? Why are you complaining? Because your dad was there physically. But that's not always the case.
It's not always beneficial.
Yeah, it's not always beneficial.
Yeah, and it comes with its own lot of trauma.
Right. So that is basically what, you know, Faith is going to start to explore a lot of these things, and it's not just going to be Faith, you know, giving a lecture. That's not it. Her workshops are very interactive. And you are required to
get involved,
and you know, for
get down and dirty.
Get down and that's dirty. How we do it, and she does it in such a loving, compassion. That's what we're about. It's not just about diving into the trauma and then, you know, going home, you know, feeling lost and open or whatever. It's about taking you through a really gentle, nurturing process so that you can start to look at this stuff in a really safe, boundary thing. So Rose is saying, so looking forward to working with you both. I really need you guys. Oh, bless her. Oh, thank you, Rose.
So Rose, I mean, and all the other wonderful women that are watching now or going to join us, you know, I think what's really important for me to know is that I was one of those typical black women that I was so hard on myself. And I think as black people, historically, we've just gotten used to that harshness. So I was super, super hard on myself. And I remember, you know, someone saying to me one day, like years and years ago, someone saying to me, oh my God, why are you so hard on yourself? And I didn't realize that it was that obvious that other people could see it, you know? So through my healing process, one of the things that I do not skimp on, and one thing I'm so strict on with myself is that I have to be absolutely gentle with my process, with everyone that I work with, and especially around black women, because I feel like we need that tenderness more than any other group.
My God,
we need that tenderness so much. So, you know, as June was saying, that my workshop is gentle. It's very, very gentle. And it's, for me, it's really, really important. It's a 2-hour process. It's important that I leave you more elevated and more healed. And then that's a bold thing to say, than when you came. So it's not my job. It's not my job to unearth anything that you cannot handle, because when you leave, I want you to feel safe when you leave. So my processes are super, super gentle, and even though the subject matter is quite a big subject matter, I navigate it in a way that you will feel really held, and it will, the whole process, even though we go quite deep, the whole process is very, very gentle. And I know that June has been spruiking, you know, which has been great. I've been watching June talk about, you know, my workshop, and it's been fantastic to hear it, you know, and I just wanted to clarify and just go through a little bit of stuff with you, okay? So the title of the workshop is Healing the Father-Daughter Relationship. So part of that will cover absent father, but the process itself will be more an emotional and a visual process rather than an intellectual process. Okay, so I will drop in facts, and some of the facts that I'm going to drop in now, I'm going to just give you a little bit, is that there are 6 unhealthy father-daughter patterns. So while I'm taking you through a meditation process, I'm going to weave those bits of information through. So I want to just tell you very quickly the 6, okay? So these are 6 unhealthy father-daughter relationship patterns, and that's when the daughter has 1, a lost father. Okay, so the lost father can be a father that's physically or physically present or not, but it's the father that's emotionally absent, and June has talked about that a lot. You know, so he may be physically there or not, but he's emotionally absent. And what that leaves the daughter is the daughter ends up feeling really, really confused and really unable to kind of identify her own strength. So she's always running out there looking for other people to tell her who she is. That's the first one. The second father is the abusive father. So a lot of us know this one. This is like, you know, he's really unstable, he's really destructive, he's got a lot of you know, really, really destructive behaviors, and he can't control his anger. And this results in a daughter she's got no sense of who she is. She's really timid, and she's expecting men, particularly, to mistreat her. Yeah. So the second one is the pampering father. This is the father that doesn't have any healthy boundaries. It's like he's got his little princess, and he gets his sense of self through his daughter. You know, his whole identity is through his daughter. So he's quite codependent. And you know, he can't say no to his daughter, and he doesn't set any boundaries. So she ends up being quite manipulative and very, very self-absorbed, and that's no good for her.
It's interesting that you say that. Just what came up for me as you were saying that is that a lot of people might look at that and feel quite surprised.
Yeah, that's unhealthy.
That you're saying that's unhealthy, because a lot of people would say, well, you know,
that's what
being nice to her, that's what we want. We want to be pampered and all the rest of it. But you know, I can understand how that can be destructive, because then then the child then becomes self-absorbed.
Yeah, the thing is, being kind and nurturing to your daughter, that's definitely not what we're saying. But when someone is being pampering to that extent where it's more about them, it's more about the father getting his sense of identity through his daughter.
Right.
So he's buying her things, doing things for her, but it's more about what he's getting out of that relationship.
Okay, that makes sense.
And you know,
so
a parent's role is teaching boundaries. So when you say yes to every single thing, when that girl gets out in the world and the world doesn't say yes to her, and she just comes, you know, it's a shock. So I think a parent's role is to prepare a child for the world out there. So you can still be loving and nurturing and kind, but when you have this type of father where there's no balance, it's just about yes, and he's afraid to say no to the daughter because he feels like she might withdraw her love. So it's about that type of thing.
That makes more sense.
That makes more sense. Because it's true, and I'm glad you brought that up, because when we think pampering, I want the pampering father. We want a healthy, loving, supportive father. The pampering
but he's
in
also
this
going to be able to say no.
Can step back, because he's modelling for us about boundaries, and that's really important. And especially around the male-female dynamic, he's modelling those sort of boundaries, and that's really important. We need that to have healthy relationships.
That makes sense.
Cool. So the fourth unhealthy father-daughter dynamic is the toxic father. So this is the classic codependent sort of relationship. You know, this father finds it really hard to let go of his daughter. You know, it's kind of like trying to keep her small and keep her really, really dependent on him, and he wants to come and rescue her. Again, there's in popular psychology, not psychology, popular culture, in pop culture, you know, and movies, we want that sort of father that comes charging along on his horse to rescue us, you know. But again, it's similar to we talk about the pampering father, where the relationship is codependent. It's not interdependent, it's enmeshed and it's codependent. It's about the father getting his own needs met. And he's constantly clipping his daughter's wings because he doesn't want her to become too independent, because then she won't need him. So it's all about him.
So how do you define, just for those of you those out there that are watching that are not clear about you know, what is codependency? How do you define it? What does it
Oh my
look
God,
like?
that's such a
How
big
does
topic.
it show up? I know.
It's like, oh my
but
God,
just a
sorry.
little bit. Just a
Oh,
little bit.
okay. It's a big one. So codependence. Ideally, a healthy relationship is a relationship that is interdependent, and what that means is each person's allowed to be whole,
Themselves, yeah.
whole, and that doesn't take away from the relationship. I'm totally comfortable that you're whole. You're totally comfortable that I'm whole. When we have we're a codependent relationship, I need to keep you small in a way because that elevates me in some way. You know, so we've kind of caught in this bind where I need to keep you responding to me in a particular way to make me feel powerful and vice versa. It's just really, really unhealthy.
A toxic dance.
And it doesn't work when both people are whole or one of the people are whole.
Yeah.
You know, so once one person starts to get healthy, then the relationship blows up because the person,
it breaks down.
yeah, who's more codependent, is not ready to heal, then acts out because it's like you're abandoning me. It's all this stuff. So it's, I know I've only just barely touched on that because it's such a big topic. I'm just going, June, I'm going to kill you. That's such a big topic. It's like, no, let's not go there. But we'll do a workshop just on that though, because it's a really, really important subject. And I think too, it's like, it's something that's on a spectrum. So I think there was something I read that said
actually,
every single person on the planet is codependent in some way. So we're all codependent at different levels, and sometimes it's cultural. Okay, so I've got in my practice in Australia, so I had lots of Italian and Greek people for a while. Italian and Greek people in Australia are very different from Italian and Greek people anywhere else in the world. That's just how, and those people will tell you the truth. Okay, they'll say, you're right, Faith. There's a real cultural thing around codependence where, you know, the children have to be totally attached to the parents.
Wow.
There's a real thing. So it took me a while to understand that. So, you know, so the codependence and all of that stuff, it can be cultural.
Okay.
You know, it can be
That
cultural.
makes sense. Yeah.
And for them, individually, they may not be codependent, but the culture demands that of them.
Yeah.
That's the way they relate, you know. So it's a big
That's
topic.
another
So we'll
kind
do,
of- Yeah.
we'll do a workshop. Actually, we can combine that in our stuff we do in Ghana. We'll
Yeah, we
combine
can.
it. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have you covered on the codependent stuff. Okay, so did we do toxic? Yeah, we did. So the fifth unhealthy father-daughter relationship is with the ruined father. Okay, so this father is one that's usually an addict. His life is an absolute mess. He doesn't have a job.
Unmanageable.
He's going in and out of jail. All of those things. And the daughter takes the role as a caretaker. And she becomes that classic needless wantness. She's just learned that she better not have any needs because there ain't going to be anyone there to catch her, to have her back. And that's a really scary place to be as a woman.
But she just abandons herself
She just
in order to
keeps
stay in the relationship with the dad. She abandons
just keeps,
herself.
and she picks men who are totally ruined and
Unavailable.
broken as well. That keeps going in and out of jail, keeps going in and out of rehab. So she just keeps running around rescuing them and saving them. You know.
Gosh, that makes so much
Yeah,
sense.
it does, doesn't
Put
it?
my hand up.
Yeah. And so the last one is the anguish father. This is the father that time and time again just keeps letting his daughter down. You know, it's like this father that's he's gonna show up, he's gonna turn up for her birthday, he doesn't show up. He's gonna turn up for her recital, doesn't show up, turns out, you know, it's just that father, just time and time again, he just keeps letting her down. And this is just so heartbreaking to her. And she's got all this anger, but she kind of like pushes it down. She can't really say anything.
Wow.
Yeah, so
She's not gonna, her needs are not gonna
it
get,
doesn't
even
really
if she
matter,
does
yeah.
get angry, she's still not gonna get
It's
her
not
needs
gonna
met.
get-
So it's
yeah.
like, what's the point?
yeah. So those are the unhealthy father-daughter relationships. So in this workshop, we're going to cover this, but I'm not going to spend the time talking you through this. I'm going to weave this into the process that I'm going to take you into and invite you to identify which of these apply to you. And you know, all of them may apply to you. So it's not so linear that each father is
just
only
one,
one.
yeah.
They're usually, you know, a combination of a few of them. Because I can relate to my father-daughter relationship was certainly about 3 of them will describe that. So you might find that.
Mine is that as well. Maybe about 2 or 3 of them definitely identify. And I can also see bits of them as well in my dad's. Not my dad. Sorry, my daughter's dad's. Behavior. You know,
yeah.
so it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting seeing how.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. your father-daughter relationship, but to see you know, how it impacts how that plays out in your, you know, what the expectations you have of your love relationships because of that relationship with your dad.
And that's the bottom line why we do that work, you know, because we can't go back and change what happened then, but it's because those experiences then are still affecting most of us, and they're still playing out in our relationships. So that's why most of us will seek healing or seek therapy or 12-step or whatever, or recovery, you know. So the way that this beautiful process is going to go through is that we're going to identify you know, which of those relate to us. We're also going to write a letter to our fathers, and then the process is going to end with us identifying the qualities we want in the fathers that we're going to internally build.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I'm a great believer. I'm a great believer that our parents didn't have the tools or the language for recovery and healing. So if we go, and this happens a lot in my practice, people go, I'm going to go and tell them to go to counselling, and it's just like, oh my God, I just go, don't do that, don't do that.
You can't drag your dad to counselling. I mean,
because
really,
it's a totally different paradigm for them. So. But the thing is, you still deserve to heal. So how do you accept that they've got their limitations and still love them, but at the same time do your work? And that's what this process is about. You know, you can come and you can be heard. We'll share some of the experiences you had in a safe and loving way. And then you can build the father figure that you need now moving forward as a woman. Okay?
Amazing.
And that's the process I'll take you through.
Yeah, that's very, very powerful. Hi, LaShonda.
Yes.
Hello, LaShonda.
Yeah, affects the kind of men.
Great.
Yes.
Was it Rosa saying, do you think it affects the kind of men you date and marry, the
100%.
relationship? Yeah, that's just
Because
textbook.
It's it's textbook. You know, we cannot. It's not. We repeat what we see, and that's just the way we're wired. And we have to go out of our way and do a lot of work to do the opposite. Yeah. So for me, it's taken me a lot of therapy, 12-step recovery, a lot of that stuff for me not to attract men like these into my life. And I have to say, I'm in a relationship with a man that he's nothing like those. But for many, many years, lots of different versions of these men, lots. You know, so yes, we do. And but the thing is, the good news is that can change. Yeah. You know, through doing the work we're doing, through all sorts of different beautiful tools that are out there, that can change.
Yeah. No, I was just going to add to that as well and say, you know, I think it's important not to kind of beat yourself up if you have been in relationships with those types of men, because a lot of times we choose them unconsciously.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like the universe's way of saying to you, I really want you to be whole. I really want you to heal. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep putting you in these relationships with these men so that you can get it. So you can start to make choices and say to myself, okay, well, why is it that I keep picking these? That was my story. Yeah. Why do I keep picking these men that are unavailable? Yeah. Why do I keep picking men that can't love me? Because number one, I didn't love myself. Yeah. And number two, I didn't understand the whole thing around the impact that, you know, the fact that my dad was absent. I mean, my dad was there physically, but emotionally he wasn't. He just didn't have the capacity to be able to connect with me on that level, and that is very common for that generation. For that generation,
and I think that's where we have to be compassionate. Yeah, because I really think that it's not that we're letting them off the hook, because it's none of that. Yeah, but we have to really understand where they are a product of their own upbringing, and most of them are just traumatized victims of trauma, bringing up more victims of trauma. Yeah, just the legacy of that, you know. And I'm always, because in my private practice I see white people from all different nationalities too, and I'm surprised how the patterns are not that much different. Ours is intensified because of obviously slavery and all of that sort of stuff. But it's just so interesting in terms of that generational stuff. They pretty much come to see me around the same thing, saying my parents couldn't tell me they loved me. That's just universal. Yeah, white, black, green, universal, because that generation did not have that language, did not have that awareness. So we're like the first generation to have that awareness, and now we're going, shit, you know. Yeah.
Okay. So Rose is saying, my dad was emotionally absent, but my ex-husband was verbally abusive. Look forward to working through this. So my dad was emotionally absent, but my ex-husband. Yeah. Do you know what's
they both still come under the lost father. Yeah. They're still the same. So it's interesting. They kind of show up, look like they show up differently, but they're actually the same type. Thing. They're exactly the same unhealthy dynamic. It's interesting. So we can talk about that a bit more on Wednesday.
So
as
that's
we
going to be
explore that.
interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Rose.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's going to be powerful. So that's what we're going to be
If
doing
you
on
haven't got your
Wednesday.
ticket yet, can we just
Yeah,
let
so
them
if
know,
you haven't got your
ladies?
tickets, you can click the link in the bio. Is heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. There's a link in there. When you click the link there, it will take you to a page. It will say in there, you know, Father's Day workshop, and it will take you to the page where you can, or not the page, the actual where you can buy where you can buy your ticket.
Can we also say how many? Because I've only got room for 8 people.
Yeah, and
so that room is super small.
It is super small, and we've already sold. I think there's only 7 spots left.
Okay.
There's only 7 spots left. Oh, let's have a look. So Lashanda's saying, I wrote a poem and share how my absence of a father affected my need for a man. Much needed convo. Thanks, ladies.
Yeah,
oh wow!
yeah.
I would have to hear that.
We'll bring it along. Bring it along.
Yeah, it'd be great to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to realise now that there is a link. You know, a lot of women tend to think that, you know, that it's actually the man that's the issue, but it's not. You know, we have to look at what we also bring into that relationship. What father wounds are we bringing into those situations? I've done quite a few live streams this week. About, you know, similar conversations about, you know, what are you bringing into the relationship? And yesterday the live stream was about 5 reasons why your absent dad can't love you or can't hear your pain or something like that. And you know, the stuff that you were saying about, you know, the generational stuff, I talked about how, you know, the patterns from slavery, the trauma and all of that, not that like you said, not excusing it, but just helping people to understand that it's important to look at this stuff holistically. You heal individually.
What's the link again?
Oh, the link is here.
Can we just maybe afterwards we'll put it on?
Yes, I'll put the link
share
in there.
it on
I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, I think it's already
in the
in there.
description, Lashana. It's in the description, but it's not. It's not online. It's in person.
It's a face-to-face one.
Yeah, it's a face-to-face one. It's in person. Yeah, it's 5 minutes from Bond Street.
Yeah.
So if you live in London, you can definitely do that. If you don't live in London and you would like some support around that, when you go to, I'm just trying to think if I will put in the comments Faith's website in Australia if you want to work with her directly. You do stuff online as well.
I do, yeah. Like half my clients now I do via WhatsApp and FaceTime. One of my clients in Australia this morning, 7 a.m. this morning. So,
wow.
And you know, my goal is that, you know, we are accessible. We can work with people right across the world. The world has become a very small place. So if you want to do some work one-on-one, please go to my website. Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
So I'll drop that in the comments after the live stream. So stay close to that. So the second reason.
Now we're gonna do our happy dance.
The second reason why Faith is here is because if you've heard me raving about this for ages, we have the Ghana launch on Saturday.
Saturday, just 7 more sleeps.
So, oh my gosh, we've been talking about this since 2017. And the start time for the Ghana launch, all the Father's Day thing, Rose. The Father's Day thing?
Father's Day thing is 6:30. 6:30 on Wednesday, the Father's Day.
Yeah, and it's 5 minutes from Bond Street. But it's all in the
in the link.
Yeah, it's all in the link, and Rose has already got a ticket as well. It's all on the PDF that you would have got. Would have all the details in there. 6:30. So the launch for the Ghana retreat is next Saturday. So the Ghana retreat is happening in November the 10th.
Yeah, the 10th to the
16th. And so we wanted to have a really private, intimate space so people could come and we could, you know, just share the types of things that we're going to be doing at the retreat, and give you a bit of a heads up,
create an intimate situation, experience. We're going to have dinner, we're going to eat together, break bread together, where we can, you know, share the experience. And this is a journey that we're taking you on, and the journey starts pretty much from next week. Okay, so I just want to give us a little bit of a background, because it's a big thing for us to be, you know, both June and I to be embarking on this journey. You know, about 2 years ago, June and I met, and I remember just getting that sense that we're meant to do something, you know, together.
I knew that from day one.
Yeah,
not consciously, but I just knew.
But I remember, like, I was in Australia, so we were speaking, you know, regularly, and I was in Australia, and I remember putting the idea, saying to June, I've got this vision that we do this retreats in Ghana, and I was so excited. I remember I was in my kitchen, and I remember just you just kind of going, oh my god, I got goose pimples, and that sense. And then we kind of put it aside a little bit, because we're both, you know, you're doing all your stuff, launching your business, and I'm doing all my stuff, launching my business. So we kind of put it aside. And then, you know, about a year ago, we started talking about it again. And then this year, we found out that the Ghanaian government put out a call to people of the diaspora that this is the year of return in Ghana. And the year of the return, it means it's acknowledging that it was 400 years since the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade. This year marks 400 years, and 75% of the slaves throughout all of Africa went via Ghana. So they were all 75% shipped to Ghana, and they all left from this particular port, which we're going to visit. So it felt so auspicious. It felt so auspicious that we had this idea, put it on shelf, and then this year we decided, and we actually didn't know that this was the year of return when we decided. We went, okay, let's do it this year. And then we actually didn't know. So the fact that it's aligned with this bigger global movement lets me know that we are really
and
looked after.
I was just like, oh, I don't know if I want to do it. I'm just, my instinct was just, I don't want to, you know, I was afraid to do it. But, you know, the more that we kind of spoke about it, I kind of really began to understand that it's actually bigger than you and I. You know, the work that we do is bigger than you and I, and it just felt right. I know that's my little human self that's kind of like, oh no, I don't want to do that, I want to show up and be visible. But in terms of the, you know, the work that we've been doing, and the, you know, the whole thing around the Ghanaian government was just, it was such the right thing to do. And every time I think about it, I feel emotional. I feel emotional when we talk about it.
I mean, the fact that your birthday is going to be when we're over there, that just kind of nice icing on the cake, really.
I'm so excited about it, and I've never been to Africa. I've never been to anywhere in Africa, so I'm really excited about it. So should we share a few little bits of the things that we're going to be doing?
Yeah, well, for me, just to say about the going back to Africa, I mean, I was born in Africa and I left at the age of 9, and for various reasons, I was born in Nigeria, which is only a few countries. It's 3 countries away from Ghana, so it's very close. But emotionally, I feel like I'm not quite ready to go to Nigeria. And it's funny because I think of, I'm Nigerian, so I can say this. I think of Nigeria as the Wild West. You know, it's a bit crazy. Whereas Ghana, you kind of know the Ghanaian people are really chilled and relaxed. I just think, you know what, this is a way of me just kind of bracing myself. Let me go to Ghana first and brace myself, and I'll build myself up to going to Nigeria. So in a few years' time, I'll be ready. So yeah, that's my little personal thing, you know, journey. And I have very strong memories of my time in Africa. And I think for me, the process is going to be that sense of returning back home. But I know that a lot of things are going to be touched and bubble up through the process. So that's one of the reasons why June and I both decided to make it a very intimate group. You know, so we're only having, you know, the
12
invitations
maximum,
open just to 12 women, and that's the main reason, because, you know, it's going to be an emotional one for us. We're used to holding people, women, you know, and we're both very skilled at that. And in order for us to also take care of ourselves, it was important for us to limit the amount, the number of women, so that we can make sure that we can really show up in a way that was really congruent. So that's why it's really small. First retreat for a real reason.
Yeah, that was something that we were very big on from the beginning. That we said we didn't want it to be, you know, because you can get the intimacy can get lost when there's too many people. So the fact that it's just, you know, 12 women, and also it's going to be like 6 from, you know, from your ladies in Australia,
6 from Australia, 6 from the UK,
and 6 from the UK or the US, because I've got people in the US as well that might be interested in coming. So. And I think that's going to make a really nice mix of different types of people as well.
Looking forward to that
have that combination. So if you are really interested in coming to Ghana with us in November, the launch is next week. And if you click the link in the description, heal.juneallen.net, there is a link that will take you to the Ghana page, and you have to put your details in. to register your interest, and what will happen then is you'll get a private invite to come to the private dinner, which is next Saturday, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. There'll be a lot more details about the venue, the price. We do have payment plans and stuff like that as well that are going to be available for people. And just, you also have an opportunity at this stage as well to be able to talk about the types of things. I mean, Faith and I have kind of got an idea of the type of workshops and stuff that we're going to do, but also we want you to have to come on the journey with us as well. So if there's specific things, because the theme of it is basically
journey back to self.
Return to self. So in conjunction with the
going back to the motherland. Yeah,
exactly.
And it is that thing. I mean, during that journey of returning back to self, in the backdrop of returning to our motherland, where all of our ancestors. Just think about all those ancestors, all those women. Lines and lines of women that came before us, all started off on that planet, on that.
Yeah.
And we are, the iteration that we are, look at us, we've gone through so many different things, cultural things, and our parents have survived so much for us to be here, these amazing queens in these bodies now,
Yeah.
So for us to go back to that land, it feels like to complete this work feels so powerful.
It's so profound.
Yeah.
It's so profound. And even though, it's going to sounds strange me saying this, but even though so many of us have experienced so much pain and trauma via our parents because they didn't have the tools or whatever to be able to do their own work, it's like we're the first generation of children that have the opportunity to turn that around, to do the work that they couldn't do. And let's remember as well, even though a lot of our parents were basket cases, like they survived.
Yeah, amazing. And think about what they lived through.
Yeah.
Just think about what they lived through,
So it's an opportunity for us to honour them, even though they couldn't show up. A lot of them couldn't show up for us. It's a way to kind of neutralise that energy by doing our own work.
Honouring our lineage.
Yeah.
To me, it's really an homage to my lineage, and that this work is to honour them.
Yeah. And honour the ancestors as well. The ancestors that were on that in Ghana, in Africa, before we got taken away.
Yeah.
It's like going back to that spot and saying, okay, I'm gonna begin a new cycle. I'm gonna build a new legacy now.
Yeah.
So I need to go back to where I was taken.
Yeah, and I think that this is the next frontier for us. I think as Black people, this is the next frontier. We've talked about that thing of not looking outside at the white society or community to heal us. There's certain things they need to dismantle. They need to dismantle their crappy, shitty structures, for sure. But in the meantime, we're the ones that are, traumatized and dealing with that. So we need to, in our community, start to do that healing.
Yeah.
So we're not acting out in addictions, in lateral violence, and that black on black stuff. This is our part of it. Let them dismantle their crappy structures. Let's do that inner work that we need to do. And so this is like one step to that. And every one of you that do this work, the impact to your legacy, to your ancestors, to me, it's just it's like the ancestors are just so happy. They're so happy, they kind of come all the way to you, and you have this opportunity to do this work, to do this healing. So I think we're very, very blessed. Very blessed.
And also, just to add to that, ironically, those structures, the structure of white supremacy cannot survive if enough of us do this work. That's how you dismantle it.
That's absolutely
because
rots from the inside.
Exactly. The only reason why that structure has been so powerful is because so many of us are broken. And it can't survive if we're doing the work.
No, it can't. And it's like if someone tells you you're worthless and you believe it,
you're gonna. That's how you're gonna live your life from a position of brokenness. But when you know you're worthy, you're just not gonna accept.
No, we do not accept.
You're not gonna accept.
So that's our part of the relationship. So I think for a long time we've believed them. Now, I think there's a lot of us that know that's bullshit. We don't
Yeah.
believe them. So now we're coming to that space now where we're acting from a place that we don't believe them. And, you know, we're all at different stages on that, and that's okay, you know. But I think that's where we're up to now, is really at that space of going, I don't believe. This is your labeling, doesn't affect me.
Nothing to do with me. It's your stuff, and you need to, you know, you need to deal with that. It's got
Yeah.
absolutely nothing to do with us. And yeah, it's just important to be able to just own that.
Yeah,
Just
wonderful.
own that, and actually just believe that you're not powerless. You're not powerless. Like, and a lot of us do feel powerless because it is so.
Bigger than Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
So big.
Yeah, it's easy to
Yeah.
feel powerless, especially when you see all the stuff that's going on in social media, and it is painful to make those changes. It is painful to make those changes, but
But it's
it
time.
has to start. You just have to start with the small things.
If not when, if not now, when? If
Yeah.
not me, who?
Who?
That's it.
And it's you
We're doing it.
and us, and it's today.
Yeah.
So go click the
that's
link
great.
in the bio.
Yeah, just join us. If this resonate with you, if you're getting goose pimples like I get every time we talk about it, this is yours. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not cheap, because nothing worthwhile. I'm not saying nothing worthwhile is, but it's not cheap. And we made a conscious decision that it wasn't. We're going to be having this experience in Ghana. It's our first time going, for a lot of us, going over to Africa. I didn't want to be doing it as a budget trip. You
Yeah.
know, so it's important that we, you know, everyone that arrives is looked after. We're in a really beautiful resort, and you know, we've factored in that each woman that arrives, there's airport transfer, there's a taxi. They'll come, because we're 2 hours away from Accra, from the airport. So you know, you arrive in this foreign country. You know, you might be a
Yeah.
little bit anxious. We will be there at the other end to come and get you with the driver. Okay, so we're
Yeah.
going to really look after you from start to finish. Okay, we want you just to come along and just surrender, and we're going to just hold you. Okay, so our job is doing all the back end to make sure this is a phenomenally life-changing experience for you.
Yeah. And hopefully it's something that we'll do
Yeah,
more of.
our vision is to do it once a year
Annually.
in a different. My vision is to do it in a different country in Africa, but I just think I'll fall in love with Ghana. I just end
Yeah.
up going back there every year. But the vision is to do it
Yeah.
in a different country in
In a different
Africa. But we'll
country.
see how we go. We'll stay
Yeah.
open.
We'll stay open, so
Yeah.
we'll see. So if anybody's interested, anybody got any questions or anything?
Yeah, come
you
along
can
to
drop them
the.
in come to the launch.
Come to the
next
launch,
Saturday.
because I don't want to give too much away. I want to leave something for next
Yeah.
week. So we've given you a little bit. I think I'm really happy what we've given you, a taster.
Yeah.
Okay. And next week, if you're tweaked, if you're interested, being piqued, come along next Saturday,
Yeah.
and then we will break it down for you and answer any questions that you've got to ask us. Okay.
So thank you so much for joining us today. It's
Yay.
been an interesting. Yay! It's been really good. It's actually. It feels real.
Yeah. What?
It feels real.
Kinda
Just having
real.
a conversation about it. It feels really real. So yeah, just if you're interested in the Ghana trip, or obviously the Absent Father, the Father's Day workshop next Wednesday, then join us for that. So thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you hopefully either Wednesday or next Saturday.
Yeah, looking
But
forward
Faith
to
and I,
seeing you.
Faith's going to be around for a while, so we'll probably do a few more live streams and stuff anyway. So if anybody's got any questions or anything about what Faith does or what we've been talking about, you can either drop a question in the comments, or you can send me a direct message. Okay, so we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.